What a weekend. TCR kicks off the Cars Tour Northwest season. Bristol doesn't disappoint, and Ethan Ebert defends his Tri-Cities title with a win in the first Northwest Crown Jewel of 2026. It was a week for the ages, and we've got a lot to say. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the Announcer's Curse podcast. I'm your third favorite announcer, Derek Todoroff.
I'm Ben Iman.
And I'm Caden Barksdale.
And wow.
What a weekend.
What a weekend indeed. Worth the 10 hours of driving, Caden?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't have to do the driving, so that helps too.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I do.
Yeah.
Before we really get into the racing, we got to start with a lovely anecdote from the drive back, which is it is late. It's not super late, not superbly late like it can be.
But it was a long day.
It's 10 p.m. We're on I-90. Caden's been asleep for 30 minutes. He went to sleep.
Oh, this is not the story I thought you would tell.
We went to sleep on I-82, and he is in my passenger seat. And he bolts awake 30 minutes after he went to sleep and goes, I know where we are now. I know how to get back to Bellingham. And I look at him because he doesn't. I know where we are. And he 100% does not know where we are.
No clue.
And I go, do you now? And he says, yeah, we're 5 miles away from Everett.
We had not crossed the mountains.
We had not crossed the mountains. We were 5 miles away from Easton.
Yes.
Not Everett.
I saw a
we
sign.
are on I-90.
Look, that drive is brutal. When you
You're telling me.
When you hit that stretch, like after you go past like Natchez, and like it's just, before you get back to like either
There's just nothing.
I mean, like
before you get
you
back to whatever town you get to.
You and I did the drive a couple years back where I played the role of Caden, except I didn't ask what was going on and instead played for you a podcast and then fell asleep. Trust me, it's worse when it's all the way up to Bellingham. All the way up and down. Nothing beats waking up at 3:30 and getting back to your bed at 1:30.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it definitely was. No, it's definitely difficult anytime you try to do it in one day. We did it in one day. I genuinely don't recommend it. I mean, like, if it's the difference between going and not going, well, then do the drive because it's worth it. But I definitely don't recommend it. It's kind of a brutal trek, and that's where sometimes people who are big time motorsports or short track fans on the East Coast don't understand what it's like being a fan out here on the West Coast, which is it's a trek to go from track to track. They're not generally close. Like you can live in certain areas of North Carolina and have 6-10 short tracks within an hour each of you, and we're quite the opposite. We've got 4 within a span of like 6-7 hours. So
they're all at least an hour and a half apart in this state. Yeah,
they're like strung along.
At minimum, they're all disconnected. But hey, we made the drive, and Caden and I got to catch the ICCU 125, which pretty cleanly takes us into that subject. The opener for the Cars Tour Northwest Pro Late Model Series. It's got a lot of sponsors and a lot of different names. Those who... No one hears the outtakes, so you guys didn't get to hear how many times I stumbled over that name trying to say it in the intro of last episode.
It was a lot.
Well, I'm just happy that it feels like we've all like us as like a community has kind of settled on just Cars Tour Northwest, and we're just gonna roll with that.
I like that.
I got to meet Aaron Creed, who is a reporter and announcer down in the Southeast. Came over for awesome guy. Came over here for the Apple Cup weekend, and him and I were chatting, and at one point I just looked at him and said, I promise I'm more eloquent on the mic. I promise I sound at least a little better on the microphone.
It's how we all feel, isn't it?
It is. And hey,
I'm not even good on the microphone.
You'll get
there. We hope so. We're holding out for you.
We kind of need you to.
Thank you. Prayers.
So you guys made the trek over for the late model portion of Apple Cup weekend. Obviously, the actual Apple Cup itself is the super late model race Sunday. similar how Summer Showdown is the super late model race at Evergreen Speedway. There's not a, Fall Classic is the super late model race. It's all the same. Even though there's a pro late portion pretty much at all these races now, it is the ICCU 125, and it brought out a pretty big field. I think 24 cars for the event from up and down the West Coast, not just in the Northwest, and Canada. Brought some drivers down from Canada.
And I think that this will probably be the first time this is happening. So if you listen to us on Spotify, I recommend that this time around, tune into YouTube. And Caden collected some lovely B-roll footage. I'm sure some of which is playing right now as we're talking, of the drivers going by to start the race. It was quite the field. Caden and I found a pretty good spot to watch it, and then I quickly ditched Caden to go poke around the pits and see what was happening. But
yeah,
I mean,
we were in the pits most of the day. It was.
I want to hear your look on this, Caden, because you.
Yeah. So to kind of defend myself from the story Derek told at the top of the episode a little bit and give some more context, I had not slept the night before either. So I had worked a full 8-hour shift and then went home, tried to sleep a little bit, couldn't. And then we left at, 4 a.m., I think? So by the time we got there, I had been up for almost a full day already. And it was, I told Derek on the drive back, it kind of, the whole day just felt like a fever dream, but in the best way possible. Because this was my first race where I got to actually be in the pits and experience it from that side of things. And so it was really cool to just see how all the different teams prepared for race day and kind of just the atmosphere. It was super cool to just be around. There's some great barbecue that we got before things really picked up. And then we got to see all the qualifying. That was really cool. We were up in the stands for that part, just trying to see how our drivers would do. And then we went back down into the pits for the actual races, and the other classes that went, were fun, but we were there for the big one at the end, and oh boy, did it deliver. It was a pretty slow first half, I will say. Derek said he was a little worried that he had dragged me out all this way just to watch a boring race, but the second half, oh my gosh. I mean, what was the crash that started it? It was
the first
Harvick.
One was Todd Connell went around.
Connell.
And then Todd Connell went around.
No, Chase Gardner was in with Todd in one of those.
Well, he's
Todd,
the one who made contact and put Todd Connell around, but
sure.
Okay.
It was Todd Connell going around both times. No hate on Todd Connell. Let's make that abundantly clear. I'm just saying Todd Connell went around twice, and then we get a long bit of peace, and then the leaders.
You also can't skip over the fact that race control called the halfway break start back.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And we can't skip over the fact that Todd Connell ran into the back of Ken Bonney on a restart as well.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty
weird day.
I had the flow aspect. I was watching on the broadcast with on flow racing and hearing everything from Tim and team.
Fun little game. You can play, viewers. If you have flow, go back and try to find Derek and I in the broadcast. We make it a couple times into the background.
I am wearing a black jacket, which already should set me apart from people because I'm wearing a jacket in Eastern Washington and a burgundy shirt. That's striking color combination.
I'm wearing this lovely hoodie I picked up, which, Ben, do you know who this driver is in this top car? None of us could figure it out. It's a 7-Eleven Valley Ford.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're asking the wrong guy. If Derek doesn't know, then my Northwest racing knowledge bank is even shallower.
I think that's from before I was born, and also from the east side of the mountains. A combination which is not a good one for getting me to know a late model driver.
Got Keelan.
It's definitely you will read the back of that hoodie at some point and take a swing.
Sure,
probably someone who's on that.
It's probably the first guy would be my guess if I had to take a stab at it.
That would make sense.
Good a guess as any. We'll probably get some flack for this at some point, but that's okay. We're young.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. We're young and we need to learn.
We would appreciate it. I always love to hear about facts I don't know.
Yeah.
That's always interesting. Now, I don't think Ryan's going to correct us because I don't think Ryan knows who that is either. But if you're not Ryan, leave a comment letting us know who that is. And if you are Ryan, leave a comment letting us know that you made it this far and are listening to us.
Also, Ryan, just take a guess. Just swing. Why not?
It's not your dad. I'm sure of that.
So, on the Flow broadcast, the first half was pretty. Thankfully, they do a good job editing and staying up with whatever kind of battles they can find to make it pretty watchable, because it was pretty standard, which has not been the norm for these races at the Tricky Tri-Oval out there in Tri-City Raceway. It is at times been a lot more carnage filled than this, but I think that kind of showed to the quality of driver and the quality of series that the Cars Tour Northwest is trying to build. How long would that last? Only about halfway.
Yep.
I think the halfway break came down, and the only kind of contending car to kind of come down and make a change was Cole Raz.
Yeah.
Tire pressure adjustment and fuel in the car, which was a strategy play. I kind of think was a big thing, with the idea that I'm sure Cole, who's run this racetrack enough and who's been around the block once or twice now, kind of knew that maybe the yellow would start to fly. And he said in his post-race interview, in a position that I won't spoil where he finished yet, if you don't know, but he did say in his post-race interview just that, we decided to bring it down, fill it up, and figured the caution was going to fly, except instead of getting caution laps, we got red flagged. So that kind of killed the strategy of it, because everyone got to stop and just kind of shut the motors off and weren't burning the fuel. So, which I do agree with. From a decision standpoint, I don't think short track racing should become fuel mileage racing, but I also believe that making the decision to come down and fuel up on pit road and kind of play that decision is smart. And I don't hate that being a strategy option, but I don't think it should come down. I don't think it should come to that. So, and the two wrecks, they had no choice. The two wrecks that caused red flags were red flag wrecks.
Yes.
If you want to get into whichever one of those you want to get into first.
Well, first, I think we need to start with the setup, which is Keelan Harvick has a fast car. He's demonstrated that throughout his career, and he's demonstrated it here so far in this night that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the other driver with a fast car is a driver employing the opposite strategy he used to win the Fall Classic, that being Ethan Ebert. Ebert is leading. He's dominating this race. He is, so far, the class of the field. And then Kevin Harvick gets to him. I'm going to be honest, I have watched their contact so many times. I, for the life of me, do not know what happened.
Yeah.
It looked
looks
like
like
something minor with Ebert.
Yeah, something happens to Ebert and he slows down a bit, but it doesn't look like, maybe it's just because it happens at the worst possible angle for Flo's cameras to catch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like either one leaves their line. It looks like they just somehow collide with each other.
It was an accident.
And right front tire gets shredded on Harvick and left rear gets shredded on Ebert. Though, notably, I mean, I'm one of the people who ran down to go look at these cars as they came in. That was all the damage. They ripped off some paneling to make sure that it wasn't going to rub the new tire, but they didn't have a problem. There was no broken control arms that need to be fixed. I mean, and there were some weird mechanical failures. Kyle Lang leaves the race because, if I remember, I'm trying to remember what wheel it was, but I believe it was the right rear shock collapsed.
Whoa. He lost all the bump stops out of it.
Yep, just on.
That's crazy.
Nema Lang had a mechanical failure on his car that was just sudden. I mean, he was rolling with the pack coming to a green flag restart and swerves in to come pit because car's done. He climbs out and that was it. That's all she wrote. But Ebert and Harvick both get back out there, and it's one lap until we run into our next problem, which Flo does not get a good angle of this. I got a solid one. And in the moment, I'll admit to texting Ben and saying, I think he got a little too desperate, wanted to go a little too fast. The angles I've seen, the replays I've seen, it's just wrong place, wrong time for Keelan Harvick.
Yeah.
The throttle hung on Billy Cole's number 67. He goes right up the track, right into Harvick, and both their days come to an end. That's a real hard way to lose it if you're Keelan.
Yeah, hit the wall pretty hard.
And admittedly, in the pits, he seemed to take it pretty hard. He did come out. He watched the final few laps a little bit to the left of where Caden was standing.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's growth to see a driver go through that sort of thing. I haven't followed Keelan's career super closely, but to my knowledge, that was one of the harder hits he's taken across it. And in the nicest way possible, that's your welcome. Welcome to the Northwest. There's a lot of fast tracks here, and there's a lot of tracks that'll tear up your race car, chew you up, and spit you out. Tri-Cities Raceway is known for destroying race cars. Evergreen Speedway is super fast, and one mistake will shred the entire right side of your car when you touch the wall. The Wenatchee Valley Super Oval has a frightening amount of flips for being a quarter-mile racetrack that late models run on. I've seen 2 flips at that racetrack. That's more than I've seen at Evergreen for a track that goes half the miles per hour. That aside, that kind of set us up for where we'd go the rest of the race.
Mhm.
And specifically, it set up an incident that I think Flo got the single best angle of.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to turn to Ben for the most controversial part of this race, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flo got a great angle. We got all of this. Off this restart, now inheriting a higher running position with both, Eber going to the back and Keelan's day being over. Jovan Dillon and Casey Klein were just trading blows at each other, and not like physically. I mean, crossing each other over, trying, digging to try to find room. They were driving each other hard. They were driving each other aggressive, and I will say that they were both leaning on each other at times. So this is not one sided, but they come back through the green, go into turn 1, and Dillon gets real low, and they come together, and Jovan Dillon drives over the top of Casey Klein's hood, like physically drives on top of his car. They both end up in the barrels in turn 1, which is not, lots of drivers will tell you that is not the fun place to end up at that racetrack. And that was it. That was day over for the pair of them. And yeah, wow, just it was just kind of aggression, just kind of getting the best of both of them.
They were fighting hard.
Yeah, it cost them both their race car at the end of the day. And then they both had a chance to really take a jab at each other on the Flo mic.
Boy, did
which
I should emphasize
was the Flo
mic was also
coming through the
connected
grandstand. That's
to the grandstand.
Yes.
So they took a shot on the Flo mic, and they also took a shot on the grandstand mic at each other, and so everyone
crowd went crazy.
Oh, I'm sure they eat that stuff up.
Hits went crazy too.
They lost it up there. You could hear them roaring as Casey gave that interview.
Yeah, so
that was something.
Yeah, that was just. I think they were both just aggressive for aggressive sake. I know, you're thinking restarting less than 30 to go. You got to kind of make your move now. Mm-hmm. Your opportunity might not appear again. And they both felt like they had a nice fast race car.
And I offering a defense in both their minds, they were right. The drivers who started first and second on that restart, spoiler alert, finished first and second in this race.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to go. You needed to have something.
Yeah.
And we'll talk in just a moment about what that number 19 had, but I mean, you had to go. You had to make the move.
Yeah, I don't think it was wrong to get aggressive and try to make the move on the restart, because you didn't know how many more you were going to get, and you didn't know. Yeah, but ultimately it just ended up costing both of them. Just driving in the corner deep, and that is tough. A tough thing about that track is just there's not a lot going down low and going inside, especially into the dog leg, is just so. We saw. I have to give shout out to Jovan Dillon, because single laps before this, he made an incredible 3-wide move into the dogleg to even get to Casey Klein and be in that battle and splitting Vito Cancia. But man, just a tough break for both of them. I think you chalk it up more honestly as a racing incident, an aggressive racing incident. I don't think you can fault Casey. I don't think you can fault Joven. I think they'll both fault each other.
Oh yeah.
And maybe they'll have the chance to go back and watch the film and can recognize, where they drove in and where their part of it was. But ultimately, it takes both of them to get in that wreck. And I think you just chalk it up as a racing deal. And, I will agree with Casey's sentiment. We can't just keep coming out here and ripping up race cars. It doesn't do any of us good. So, that was quite the wreck. And I'm glad to hear that the crowd got a chance to get that interview in the moment. And glad they ate it up.
Oh, yeah.
So up front in this moment, we're in a very interesting spot. We have the number 19 of Thomas Stanford, your fast qualifier, who is now in control of this race again, something he hasn't been since lap 2. Not that you would have seen that pass on the Flow broadcast. That's the only shot I'm taking at the lovely connectivity issues that Flow has sometimes. I don't even...
We're getting the lovely connectivity issues that Derek has sometimes. Nothing.
That's funny.
That was crazy. Yeah, at least it made itself a clip this time.
Up front, you have the number 19 of Thomas Stanford, who, your fast time qualifier, hasn't really been in control of this race since the start. Has the chance. Jeremy Anders told me before the race, he and I were talking about picks. He was bragging about how we picked Thomas Stanford on Friday, and I casually told him that I record a podcast at 2 a.m., technically on Tuesday, and that it goes up on, usually Wednesdays. And I picked him then. He got a little quiet after that. But my main point is actually the fact that Jeremy said, drivers like Plybon, Harvick, Ebert, they're going to go out there, they're going to burn their tires up because they want to lead. They want to show that they're the dominant car. Stanford is the most willing to fall back and let the race come to him. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Stanford leaves them all behind. He is gone pretty quickly. And we see Vito Cancelo run into some issues. The torpedo starts to falter, much like the Mark V falling out of the Devastator. And that's a joke for all three of you people who know anything about World War II era torpedoes. Vito falling back from that main pack, tough break for him. Still not quite sure what went wrong. But that let a battle for second, third, fourth, fifth all sort of shape up. And running in that third place spot, well, it's Cole Raz, who is in between two drivers, which I got to give a shout out to one of the best quotes I've ever heard out of an announcer, which is Greg Rentz's comment that Cole Raz was caught in the middle of couples therapy with Hayden Plybon running in front of him and Haley Constance running behind him. And I got to say, kudos to Haley Constance, who had been very quiet throughout this race, but just running her race, keeping her tires ready. Talked to Joe a little bit afterwards, and he was satisfied with how they'd been taking the strategy. And no, minor spoiler alert, satisfied to take the car home with only minor damage. That's your main four. You got Wyatt Gardner there, keeping everybody honest. And then we got a spin. I should emphasize, Thomas Stanford takes the white flag, and then we get the spin. And we throw the yellow. Which I got to admit, not only as a guy who took Stanford, but also just as a race fan, I got nervous. That is not how you want to see a driver lose a race. The last thing you want to see a driver lose a race from is a caution right there at the end. 4-second lead gone. Well, on the restart, he didn't really care. He drove away and he was gone immediately off the restart. Plybon managed to secure second, and then one to go, white flag, into turn 2. Plybon gets a little loose, has to check up. Haley, who's solidly grabbed a third at this point, unfortunately taps his back bumper. She gets tapped from behind by Zach Reel, and the two of them go up the track, taking them out of contention. Cole steals third place away, fourth place going to Wyatt Gardner, and fifth place going to a driver missing part of his left rear fender, as Ethan Ebert manages to grab the fifth place spot after what was a pretty rough day, admittedly.
Yeah, good for him.
And, I mean, it was a good run. Kudos as well to the Hard Luck Award winner, which was Keelan Harvick. And your fast lap in the race was also Thomas Stanford, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people knew that. he got a nice pair of sunglasses that I got to watch him try on for the first time.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, fun fact, if you're playing the Flow broadcast game, trying to find Caden and I, look in the background of Ethan Ebert's video and you can attempt to identify the two drivers talking with us in the background of that video.
Both evergreen drivers.
Evergreen legend drivers.
Yep.
With that, that's the ICCU 125. I gotta say, I'm pretty pumped for this series up here in the Northwest. The next race is April 25th at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. I might be there. I don't know. My schedule is weird at this point. And Highway 2 is even weirder. But that's all to say, hey, that's a race you should put on your calendar if you're not racing. And go check out the Treetop 150 Leonard Evans Memorial. And of course, before we leave behind Tri-Cities, hey, I'll admit, been a bit overshadowed with this whole debut series coming to town, but the actual super late model race the next day for the Apple Cup 125, well, as you heard me say in the intro, Ethan Ebert takes away with the win, goes back-to-back in super late model races at Tri-Cities Raceway. Real curious to see if he can keep doing that this year. Cole Raz announced he was running this race during his podium for the Pro Late Model race.
Really? I didn't know.
In fact, I heard his crew discussing it back in the pits afterwards. And then third place, another Pro Late Model that was not originally on the Super Late Model entry list, Nemo Lang. The 00 Hero and 10-time Evergreen Speedway champion rounded out your podium with a car that I heard was real consistent and a real big threat there on the long runs. But that was your podium for the Apple Cup 125. Looking forward to seeing many super and pro late model races across the Northwest all year long. If you want to check out the Cars Tour West, you can see the limited late models and Southwest Pro Late Model Series in action at Stockton 99 Speedway this Saturday. Or, of course, as mentioned before, the Northwest Legend Tour and the Northwest Pro Late Model Tour at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval on April 25th. Without further ado, heading into the last great Coliseum, it's Bristol, baby.
It was solid.
Yeah. I watched the truck race. Truck race is pretty rad.
You know, anytime you get a first-time winner, great.
Yeah.
Those are great for everyone. But yeah, I think the racing was just solid.
Which we're talking about Ty Gibbs, for those that don't know. To get his first win.
I said this year, you can go back in the show. Said this year, I said you'd find victory lane.
Ty Gibbs had to fight for it. I will emphasize that. He was on way older tires, had to hold off a hard charging Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney, but nobody cares about any of them. No one cares. Todd Gilliland on speed got 6th place. We got a Todd top 10. Not on fuel strategy, not on any of that. On raw speed and proper planning, the Todd Father got 6th place, and that's what we should all really be celebrating, because who cares if Ty Gibbs gets his first career win? If there's no die-cast made of the car, did it ever really happen?
Yeah, Lionel made it very clear what the case is going to be with that. So I don't know if either of you saw the tweet.
I did.
Kid, it's just the Lionel racing out saying we'd like to congratulate Ty Gibbs on his first win, and it's just the cat crying, giving a thumbs up.
For those who
thanks,
don't
Monster
know,
Energy.
Yeah, which I'm realizing is a lot of people. Monster Energy considers diecast to be children's toys, and as a result, won't advertise on them.
So there's just not going to be a diecast.
There will be no diecast for Ty Gibbs' first career win.
Wow, that sucks.
Which, like, maybe if he had,
can we give it to Toddfather instead? Can we make him?
I'd love to get it on. I mean, we have Toddfather diecast. He was just in the regular Loves number 34, so it wasn't in a special scheme.
Okay,
but we do love the Toddfather.
One of the few weeks I didn't make him.
If you want to take that stuff to happen, Caden, you just have to order enough of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the secret to how Lionel's system works. Just order all of the Toddfather diecasts.
All right.
Anyways, as
I'm using
mentioned,
my tax return for.
Yeah. Oh man. Your Bristol winners in the Truck Series, Christopher Bell gets it done with his first Truck Series win since 2017, capitalizing on Christian Eckes sending Corey Heim plowing straight into the outside wall. Connor Zilic gets it done in the Xfinity Series / O'Reilly Series / Nationwide Series / Busch Series, reminding everybody that he's really, really good behind the wheel of that car, and it should probably be the Cup car. And of course, as mentioned, Ty Gibbs holds off Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson doing his first career race at Bristol. That being said, we got 2 races ahead this weekend at Kansas Motor Speedway. And over in that Cup Series, I have gone with a pick of Tyler Reddick, 2311. Has a decent history at Kansas, and I gotta say, I feel a lot better about that pick, given the current way that this season has gone. I picked this before everything happened.
Yeah, real strong pick.
Yeah,
so
Derek's definitely a contender this weekend.
Reddick to get his 5th win, not gonna object. Caden has switched his pick. He's cashed in the first switch of the season.
My original was Noah Gragson, which, I think I don't remember exactly my justification at the time, but I think I just liked his name. This was back when I knew nothing. And now I know a little bit, enough to know that that's not a good pick. So I'm cashing in my first of 3 picks here and switching to Christopher Bell to get the win at Kansas.
And Ben, I also, kind of offered the repick to you this weekend, but you've chosen not to go for it. Do you want to tell everybody who you've chosen to win this one?
No, I've taken the Zillbilly himself. I picked Connor Zilic to win this race. Yeah, that's not looking very good. I won't lie, but maybe Connor climbs in the car this week and goes, and then something just clicks. I don't know. I'm doing this strictly out of belief. I believe in him.
And I will say it is a better pick than Gragson was.
Yes.
There are maybe 3 picks worse than Gragson.
Yeah, that's true.
Notably, Corey Heim will be in this Cup Series field. Curious to see what he can do in that number 67. I'm hopeful he can go get a top 5 and remind us why Riley Herbst should be on the streets and Corey Heim should be in his race car.
Well, that means Monster Energy sponsorship, because I'd like more diecasts.
I'd love to see a Safe Light number 35 with Corey Heim behind the wheel. I think that's one of the cars I would like. One of the schemes that if I were one of a scheme designer, I'd make
a schemer, happen. If you will.
A schemer, if you were. I'm already a bit of a schemer.
You are.
Well, we can cut that. Please cut that.
Okay, I got you.
Editor, put a video of you in the salt mines. Which means we turn our attention to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and their race at Kansas. I'm going to take the first pick. Needless to say, we routinely cover here on the Announcers Curse podcast that we record these at the unholy hour of 2 a.m., technically on Tuesday morning, after which I have done a day of school. Then I have run a D&D session and kind of just forced to sit in a state of not quite awake, not quite asleep for 3 hours. And then I record this with these 2. Woohoo! I was dissociating a little bit. And when I'm dissociating, I can't really think straight. As a result, I've gone with my relaxing pick, the pick that I always go with, the pick that I said 4 picks ago I was never going to take again, and then I took 2 picks ago, and now I'm taking them again. Well, sure. Taylor Gray, driver of the number 54, is going to go do something at Kansas. Probably going to do terrible, given that's how he usually does when I pick him. So, Taylor Gray, whoa!
Nice.
I can only see this turning out well.
It has to. There's no other way. Okay, well, I will admit I'm also not in the sharpest state of mind right now. And as I look at this spreadsheet, my eyes wander over to the previous winners in the O'Reilly series here. And one name is, they're a lot more than the others. So I'm going to be picking Justin Allgaier to win here at Kansas.
I was hoping you were going to say Taylor Gray.
No, he's notably not in the winner column of the spreadsheet, but he is there the most, I think, out of any driver.
I think he's probably the most picked driver.
Yeah.
We're in the kind of same brave way. I'm gonna take Carson Kvapil.
Yeah.
I think this might be a good track for him to kind of break out. The junior cars are fast, even if he's not in whatever junior car he's in. Even if it's one of the satellite teams that is we're still going to call a junior car, but he's been rapid, and this is a great track for Carson Kvapil to pick up his first win.
Well,
lo, we shall have an ending. Hey, you know what's happening this weekend, folks? Not only is there racing at Evergreen Speedway like there is most weekends, but also it is the Stanley Cup playoffs, is the WHL playoffs. Lots of hockey to watch if you like hockey, which everybody should like hockey. Hockey's awesome.
Mariners are heating up.
Mariners are heating up is certainly
they just swept
word.
The Astros, so feeling good.
That's an improvement from where they were a couple of days ago.
Yes,
they had to go play the Padres and then the Rangers. And meanwhile, in the NHL, it's almost all said and done. Oh, nope, correction. It is all said and done in the Eastern Conference, at least, as we bid a possible farewell to Alexander Ovechkin. It's still unclear if he will be returning to the NHL next year. If he does, woohoo. If he doesn't,
what a career.
It's kind of fitting for him to go out the same way his career was for so very long, with the Capitals missing the playoffs despite his goal production.
Yeah.
And if that's true, we witnessed just earlier this week the final matchup between Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin, a classic rivalry for the Eastern Conference. And that'll be missed. Penguins are going to the playoffs, though, even if the Caps aren't. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, let's see. Yep, we're all locked up here, too. The Kraken missed, the Sharks missed, and the LA Kings, who I got to talk about this. We're near the end of the episode. The LA Kings have, if I understand correctly, 21 regulation wins this season. That means with their total wins of 35, 14 of them have come in overtime.
Whoa.
The Kings also have 19 overtime losses, meaning that the LA Kings went to overtime 33 times this season. Wow. Why?
How? That's my big one.
They were just good enough to play one more period of hockey.
I guess so.
It's crazy.
Sure, the fans loved it.
Not nearly as crazy as the fact that you needed 89 points to clinch a playoff spot in the West, and you needed 96 to clinch it in the East. But at the same time, the West has the number one team in the NHL with 117 points. So what's happening? Nobody knows. The President's Trophy winner never wins the cup. If previous years are any indication, two of the hottest young superstars are both just awful. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Two of the hottest young superstars play for two of the worst teams in the league. It's all one big wacky carnival. And the NHL is coming to you soon. Right now, the Everett Silvertips, I don't know if this is the case by the time the recording goes up, but the Everett Silvertips lead their series against the Kelowna Rockets 2-0. And with that, I'm all done on the hockey front of things. As always, an honor to bring you the wonderful various things that we do here on the Announcer's Curse podcast. And until next time, I've been Derek Todoroff.
I'm Ben Iman.
And I've been Caden Barksdale.
And if you really, really try, the pine cones are always edible.